Welcome to our webinar with mindfulness as a tool for coaches. We're here today to share an approach for integrated mindfulness in which we use mindfulness, NLP, and coaching. And another aspect of our diversity and our synergy is that we have three different presenters here today. We work as a team to develop mindfulness in a very special way. Arlene Davis, I'm Arlene Davis. I'm the president of Mindfulness Evolving in the United States and Brazil. We have Ildi on the call here, who's a distinguished Princeton educator with a vast experience in fitness. And we have Darko, he's a master trainer of NLP. He has a center in Serbia, Reiki teacher, innovative health practices. All of us together are here to share our thoughts today about mindfulness and coaching. So first of all, if we can see the next slide. So what is mindfulness? Very briefly, mindfulness is a mental practice about cultivating awareness and acceptance. We pay attention to our thoughts, to our feelings, and our environment without any judgment. In cultivating the present moment, we embrace the power of mindfulness to enhance focus, reduce stress, and foster emotional resilience. And through mindfulness practice, we discover the transformative potential of living with an intention and awareness. That's what we're here to do, to talk about coaching in a specific way. Each of us will talk just a little bit of how we make connections with coaching and mindfulness. And a very good way to start a session where there might be learning for you, where you might satisfy some of your curiosity, where you might bring something to your present moment, the good ways to practice. So we're going to invite Darko to lead us through a grounding meditation.
Yes. Hello, everybody. I'm so glad to be here. And the grounding meditation is something that I really admire to do, especially on my coaching sessions, because sometimes the clients come for a session with their brains all over what happened yesterday, what is my theme for today with my coach, where am I supposed to go after, shall I take my kids from school, or tomorrow I have to go to work. So when we use grounding meditation, we are bringing our attention back, and we are bringing our attention here and now, so that we can, first of all, ground ourselves as coaches, to be present with our clients, because also a coach has a life, also a coach has a partner, children, parents, and everything. So sometimes we need to bring back our focus to our client and the theme that our clients has. So the grounding meditation is something that brings us back in the room when we are working, or if you are online, they are bringing your attention to your client, and focusing on the main things that you should develop with your clients. So for the beginning, I would like to lead you through this short grounding meditation, just for an example, how you can ground yourself and how you can ground your client when you have a coaching session. So for the beginning, just sit comfortably and put your feet on the ground. This is very important, to have our back straight, to be on the chair with our feet on the ground. And with a couple of simple breaths, just settle here and now. And whenever you feel like, you can just close your eyes gently, or you just simply lower your gaze a little bit down if you prefer to keep your eyes open. And just for now, for a second, become aware of your breath as it enters your body and it exits your body through exhale. And just simply let it be as it is, completely naturally, without forcing it or thinking about it, or just leave your breath to be normal, natural rhythm. And with the breath, when you breathe in, you just slide gently your attention to your feet and feel your feet touching the ground. And you noticed the firmness of the ground beneath your feet. And maybe you can feel your shoes or socks if you have it on you. and just feel how it feels on your feet. And all your attention is there. And now slightly you shift your attention to your thighs and the part of your body when you are sitting on your chair and feeling the chair beneath you. And just allow the earth and the chair to hold and support your body without needing to do anything. You breathe and you feel the ground beneath your feet and you feel the chair beneath you. And now focus on your back, where your back is touching the chair. And now you can clearly see the difference between your body where you are not touching the chair and when you do. And then move your attention to your hands. Feel your hands. You may notice that you know where your hands are without seeing them. You just know. And you may notice that you are touching something, perhaps the chair or your lap, or maybe the other hand. And you might wonder, how do I know I have hands without looking? You just know, don't you? You can feel your hands from the inside. And now open your awareness to your whole body, sitting here in this moment on this chair, and simply breathe. Breathe in, breathe out. And you can make few breaths a little deeper, so you really feel the breath. And ask yourself where you feel the breath the most. Just breathe and feel the air in your nostrils or back on your throat or your chest or perhaps the stomach. And remember that place where you feel it the most. And you can use it every time when you need this nice, good sensation. And while you are breathing, bring your intention back to your body and the room that you are in. And you can move your fingers on your hands. And with a smile, you can open your eyes whenever you feel. So this is one short grounding meditation that can bring your focus back here, cleaning your mind from everything that have happened or everything that should happen later. And you are now at your disposal to listen to your client, not just to hear, not just to hear what people are saying, but to go deeply, to understand your client and to be a real support. So this is just the beginning of the coaching session. And what is interesting that with mindfulness meditations, we are actually letting people to observe their body, to observe their problems, not to run away from them, not to move focus from all of these things, but just to observe and not having any judgments and just to acknowledge, okay, this is happening and that's it. and then you continue with your coaching session.
Thank you, Darko. It's nice to practice that in the morning. We as coaches, we have this really privileged context to practice mindfulness. So many times in my life as a coach, it's been being with clients where I by discipline for staying in the present moment that I got to practice mindfulness for myself many times better than I was outside of the coaching session. And in moments of adversity, those moments of coaching by discipline, by wanting to be with the client, then I could have my practice. So this is a privilege as I understand it. Working with NLP for many years and integrating with coaching and mindfulness, I remember way back in the beginning of NLP, there was a language that was used about the programmer would work with the subject, the paradigm that worked at the time. And as we've evolved in NLP to a third or even fourth generation of NLP, instead of having the programmer having the power to change the subject and the subject being somebody that needs an intervention, an application, instead of this, we're talking about change happening within the field. The power of force that allows change to happen is for both the client and the coach to meet within this field. So mindfulness as an expansion of awareness has a great power to create this field. Awareness as the capacity to recognize and acknowledge. And if there's a narrow focus within the coach, then there's a narrow field with this potential for allowing change to happen magically and more instantly without forcing, which is a very big part of mindfulness. Another thing that happens is that coaches being human beings and having their nervous system, many times the coach is very invested in something has to happen. This has to be a great session or a kind of exaggerating marketing. It has to be a killer session because something impressive has to happen. And then the coach can become invested in creating a certain kind of outcome that's not the field outcome, or it's not even the best outcome. And being a trainer of coaches many times, dealing with participants' anxieties, but wait, what question? What's the best question? What do I do if the client has this kind of experience of the client resists? And the anxieties based on hypothetical situations that aren't even present. And I tell these coaching students, well, it's not about what question to ask. It's about who you're going to be for yourself and your coachee in these moments. So it can happen that the coach wants to be right, wants to be good, wants to be successful. And when a particular moment, it appears that the coaching session is not going in the right direction, this can unbalance a coach, get them knocked out of the field. They might get contracted with their anxiety, disconnected from their resources because they're looking at evidence and hearing evidence that seems to say a good job is not happening. This coachee is not going to transform, and I'm responsible. So some really stuck states can happen for coaches. And mindfulness allows this to unfold in the way that it has to unfold, to appreciate what's going on, the greater awareness to notice more subtle manifestations of change. And just sharing one little funny story. More than one coach teacher, great coach teacher has said to students and say, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? I said, I don't know, but this is when I start to pray.
Yeah, it's interesting that we as coaches, we like to solve all the problems for a client on the first session. And we have this enthusiasm that we know something that client does not know and want to give everything in the first session. So the client must be happy when they leave our room. They have to have everything done and every task done. So I have this great feedback from one client that after some session that we were practicing also mindfulness, but she didn't know that we are practicing mindfulness. And she just told me, I'm doing much more things in a shorter and more calm way. How is this possible? I said, just because we are aware of the tasks that we are taking on ourselves. We are not taking as many tasks as before because we are aware how much we can do. We are aware of how long is our day. We are aware of how long is 5 minutes. Most of the clients don't know how long is 5 minutes. When they say, I'm arriving in 5 minutes, they arrive in half an hour. And this is, I think that mindfulness is helping us as coaches and our clients to do more in more calm way for a shorter period. This is my experience that I'm sharing. I don't know, do you have the same experience with your clients?
I think it's so much about getting out of balance, and a coachee or a coach wanting to fix things on the outside world to feel better.
Yeah.
And so the world is a very big place to try to force change in the whole world on the outside, with the expectations of when everything in the world comes under order, my life is under order. And when I fix these negative aspects of myself, then I will feel good. If the coach goes and meets the client on that belief, that, oh my God, I have to do something brilliant so that the coachee can change their world in a way that the coachee will acknowledge that, and then the coachee will be happy, and then I will be happy. That's doubly conditional on outside circumstances. So it's very important, in my conclusion, it's very important for the coach to have this mindful practice so that they don't feel the need and the urge to take their change to the outside when we can get so much more done going on the inside. So that's my second point. And Ildi, I know Ildi has some very similar experiences talking about clients and their outcomes and their experiences by doing that practice, and how their life shifts simply by having this practice. How about that, Ildi? Is it true?
It's totally true. So, when it comes to mindfulness, I kind of want to say to people that, it's not only a tool, it's actually a key asset when it comes to working with clients. Because, as you said, like the results I'm seeing over the previous like 6, 7, 8 months, 12 months with clients is absolutely astonishing. I had recently a client of mine that, and we do it in group sessions, so they're not even one-on-one coaching sessions. As we know, group sessions, sometimes take longer because the clients don't have the one-on-one attention from us. Yet, one of my clients in the class just shared that she was taking anxiety medications. And as we know, especially here in America, a lot of people taking it. And she says to me, she's like, Ilde, now we're working together for about 6 months. And I have to tell you that I actually have 2 bottles of these anxiety medications in my cabinet at home that I didn't need to take because I'm doing this mindfulness with you. And I just find it so incredibly powerful that, how you can actually change people's lives when it comes to, using mindfulness and giving them these tools that they can incorporate in their day-to-day living. So that's why I really feel like that if you are a coach yourself, I actually want to invite you just for a moment to bring up maybe your last session with a client that you had. And as you bring that to your mind, you can do this with closed eyes, or you can keep your eyes open and just really think of that session, that what was the client's voice like when he or she was talking to you? Like, what was the tonality? What was the body language that you were seeing? And what did you feel about this client of yours being there? And as you think of that, now take the focus back from the client to yourself. Like, did you even focus on yourself in that moment, or were you all giving your attention only to your client? And if you think of that session, what could have happened if you've more focused also on you, being more present in your own body? If you think of your own tonality and voice as you're working with this client of yours, what changes that could have made in the session? And actually, Arlene shared this with me recently, didn't you, Arlene, that Steve Gilligan and Robert Dills only accept clients that practice mindfulness because it can help them to regulate their emotions much better as well. And I think, Darko and Arlene, you would agree that, you know, when you work with your own clients and giving them the mindfulness tools together with the other tools, it just makes it so much more powerful, right? Than just using coaching by itself or just NLP by itself.
This is a really important point for coaches because the client who doesn't practice, they often they like during a week, if we space week by week, during a week, they kind of accumulate experiences that they got anxious about or worried about or something, they got offended or they had a problem. And coaches can have very remedial sessions if they always bring all these disasters and catastrophes that are happening during the week, and it becomes very urgent for the coachee to be in a better state so they can focus back on their goals. So there's a pattern that we need to look at in our coachee's life. What kind of drama are they creating? How are they perpetuating a situation and it's me against the world? And these things always happen and I always get out of balance. And just once again, I had to put off working on my goals. It's important to look at that. So when the client has the practice of working on their mindfulness, they reduce their reactivity. They have less remedial things to work on the sessions. And then we have more time within a session to work on really essential resources so people can work on true goals so that their life evolves in a kind of way where they transform themselves.
Yeah,
and
I
I would just like to add something here, if you agree. There is this exercise that I do with my clients, in just to involve them in mindfulness. And there is a question that I'm asking them to ask themselves: how do I spend my time? So from day to day, when people are not in mindfulness, they don't know what mindfulness is. I just give them the question: how do I spend my time? So from now to then, few times a day, they're supposed to answer that question, because sometimes our clients are not aware that they are not dedicating their time to their family, and then they have a problem in a family. They don't dedicate time to their business, and they have a problem with their business. So to bring back awareness, how do I spend my time? What am I doing during the day? Am I happy with the result of one day? Because people are not asking themselves with the results of one day, but they're asking for the big results. Did I bought a new car? Did I bought a new apartment? Did I go for a vacation? But they're not asking the small one-day achievements. So the question, when you ask your client how you are spending your time during the day, is something that is opening awareness. What do I do? How do I speak? What are my relationships with others, with my partner, with my children, with my boss, with my employees? So if you invest your time in your business, you will have results. But if you are not, you will not have results. So how do I spend my time? How do you spend your time for the things that are important for you? So this is something also that involves mindfulness, in a meaning that we should be aware of all the activities that we have during one day.
and that's actually totally reminds me, Darko, you know, that we need to also remember that when it comes to mindfulness, it's not just about personal peace, right? It's actually a strategic tool that the clients can use to clean out that clutter, as you say, that's going on for us, all the time. And if any of us listened to our previous session last week as well, then one of the things that I do with my clients and every session that I start is similar to the grounding exercise that you just did with Darko this morning, but I take a little bit more to the beginning of it, where what I call the arriving exercise, and I invite clients to even list the things of items of that they have achieved until they arrived to that session. Because once you start listing those things, then you're now organizing that clutter, right? And then you list the things that you will need to achieve or you want to do after finishing that. So again, once again, you working on that clutter, and then I invite them to actually put it in a bag and take it outside of the front door, because again, now you can really become present. And then notice once again, like, okay, is there anything else that's going through the mind? Because sometimes there are still a little bit of bits and pieces are floating around. And that's another, I find it a great tool for people really, let things go. And then I take on the grounding exercise like you could practice with Darko this morning. And the other tool that I would actually quickly like to tell you about is the mindful listening, right? Because we know as coaches, we need to listen to clients. And I feel like that, especially coaches that starting out, we really want, as Darko and Arlene said at the beginning, we really want to give that result within the first session, to the client. And we forget to actually truly listen to them and really like mindfully, like, what are actually they saying, without wanting to react or respond to what they are saying. Just really take it on board instead. And one of the exercises I like doing with clients is using the mindful pausing meditation, where I invite people, and I'm going to invite you just for a couple of minutes to do this with me. Again, you can keep your eyes open, or you're welcome to close it. And as you're listening to my voice, I want to invite you just to notice, if you can notice, where is the gap in between my words? Like, can you listen to the silence? Can you just listen to my words without needing to respond or react or bringing anything to your mind? Just simply allowing yourself to notice, where is the gap between the words I'm using in this sentence? Can you find that peace, the silence? Because when you're able to find that peace and silence between the words, then maybe you can learn to find a peace and silence in our overwhelming rush world. So yeah, this is just one of those techniques that, once again, I love personally using with my clients, because when we're able to listen to the space, right, in between the spoken words, then we can start listening to the silence in our crazy, overwhelmed day as well, filled up with meaning. And take that, 2 minutes or 30 seconds or 5 minutes of gap and listen to yourself, because that's going to make an enormous change on the long run. I don't know, do you guys feel that same, when you, especially we know Darko being like so busy lately, right, with your various sessions and doing all your courses and everything. So what would be, that you could share with our participants that you use personally, to keep you on track with everything?
Sometimes I feel like that I don't know what would happen with me if I hadn't know all of this. Because few years ago, I would probably go to burnout. But today, it is actually just easy because I remember myself to stop. And I remember myself to ask myself, am I doing these things from my fear, my ego, or with love? So if I'm doing things, like if I build some relationship from my fears or my ego, I stop immediately. And this is something that mindfulness is helping me. And this is this awareness of uh, being non-judgmental, help me with the expression, not to judge other people, not to judge who is doing what, but the something that the mindfulness helped me in the coaching and educations and everything. There is a song that's just the way it is. When you stop trying to push with your own values, your own beliefs, you should let people believe whatever they want to believe. And you just, through coaching, you should guide them just to check, is this their belief? Is this their value? Or it is borrowed from a father, grandfather, teacher, professor. So you just guide them through the observing, why am I believing this? Why is this my value? And without judgment, I'm not judging you because you believe in this, but I will help you just to check, is this yours or not? And when you start acting in mindfulness way without judgments, then you see how the world start to be in a completely different perception, you know. And this is something that mindfulness helped me, because we are judging. We can say that we are saints, we are not judging, but in every day you're judgmental. You know how to judge other people. I don't understand why he's doing that. I don't understand why that one is doing that. But I will tell you something. We don't need to understand anybody. I don't need to understand you, and I cannot understand you. I didn't live your life, not even for 1 minute, and I don't know your life. And I cannot understand why you are doing all of these things, but I can respect. I can stay with you because I can respect, I have respect for your experience, for your life. And this is the main thing that one coach should have, because you will have clients who did some things that you will not agree with, but you should not be judgmental about that. It is their decisions. You just can guide them to check if this is something that they really wanted to do, or it was something that had a good intention below. And what was the good intention? And this is something where coaching, mindfulness, NLP are they have common subjects, and this is why I love mindfulness. And all the coaches that have finished the education with me, now they're at mindfulness education, because I know how this can be helpful in coaching sessions, and how they can guide their clients to the outcomes that clients want.
Yeah, I so agree with you, Darko, because that actually reminds me of a story, and we're going to play you guys a video about it in a moment. So one of my client, another client, shared that she she was laughing at herself. So she came to the session and she says to me, Ildi, you wouldn't actually believe it, but I really can see myself so much more doing mindfulness than previously. And as you said, Darko, it's all about the values, that we have. Because she says to me, she's like, a year ago, we had these friends of ours and they were building a pool. And I was so excited about it that I decided that I'm going to buy them towels because they're going to allow us to use the swimming pool as well. So she went and bought these very nice towels, gave it to them, and then the pool didn't get built. And she got so upset over the fact that she bought these towels to the friends of theirs, but the pool never got built. And it was now about a week ago, she says she went shopping with her husband, and they were looking at these outdoor furnitures when she realized, I was like, oh my God, that was a year ago. And she's like, I had my values so backwards. She was like, it's so interesting how all of a sudden I was just like, wow, I was so upset about it. And she's like, I didn't really actually have the reason to be that upset with them. But with her mindset back then, not practicing mindfulness, had a totally different view. And then, so if Darko, could you play us the video just to show like what was she also saying a little bit more about this. You'll hear about her talking a little bit about money, and also like her relationship when it comes to doing mindfulness. Or do you want me to play?
No, here it goes.
Incredible story, Angela, that how you actually managing to let go, you know, emotions and grudges that in the past you weren't able to do, and realizing that there is a massive change in how you used to look at even your relationship with money, and how you, as you said, like you spending it on other people.
Yeah, it used to really, really bother me. And it's just funny how I just now realizing it, you know, some of the crazy things I used to do, and, you know, and just hold on to things so much. Yeah, that I imagine, I know they weren't good for me. It wasn't good for my and my husband's relationship with each other. So yeah. I feel it's different. I was talking to my husband about it. Like therapy, it didn't fill me with like light, love, or gratitude, you know, in the way that working with you does. I don't know, like, I can't describe what therapy did or didn't, but I didn't walk away from a therapy session feeling enlightened or full of happiness. I would walk away from a therapy session often feeling maybe more upset than I did when I went into the therapy session, because you go digging, 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 and you know, you dig up a lot of bones and dirt, and at the end of that, you don't always feel good. And I think I didn't like that feeling. I needed something to replace those feelings, or to not have those feelings. I needed light, love, and gratitude to fill me. And yeah, for me, this is better. I need to not officially tell my therapist, but to let her know that chances are, I mean, I haven't seen her probably since the holidays. So that's maybe 4 months. But I have to tell her, you know, I don't want to leave our relationship like that. So
Yeah, so I don't know, what about you guys? Like, I find it so powerful, honestly, like, you know, hearing, and this is just one of the examples that, we were showing you, but it's so many of these examples that I see with my clients just telling me, like, you know, the changes, mindfulness, you know, integrating mindfulness helps them with. What about you, Arlene? Like, you know, what is that you noticing when it comes to your clients and mindfulness?
Putting together some thoughts. The clients, when they come in and they may be upset about what's going on in their lives, about their progress or lack of progress, and they bring in judgment of themselves. And when the coach maintains a coaching state in the field, even if a coachee comes in complaining or wanting to be judged, that's another pattern. Sometimes the coachee is speaking of their own judgment and they're waiting for an acknowledgement. They want the coach to be upset with them so the coach can change me. So let me tell the coach how bad I am and how off things are and how bad I feel about myself so that we can urgently change me because it's all wrong. So in that, and within that anxiety, it's been very powerful to offer a space, not even verbally. Oh, you know, you're judging yourself. That would go wrong. You're judging yourself. That's why you're upset. That would really go the wrong way. So instead of that, offering that space within the field of non-judgment, and it helps a person to dissolve that. And sometimes some comments I remember Steve Gilligan's has been very important to me as a teacher. The meeting the client with phrases of this kind that you know that makes sense, that you feel that must be for a very good reason. These acknowledging, these embracing, these holding phrases. I've heard that people say, "Oh my God, that made such a difference." To hear that, how good to know that I'm not broken. And that can be very empowering, because then the person can de-stress. And the other thing that I feel like mentioning is that it's a really hot topic sometimes. It's a hot button topic when a coachee is going to speak about what's going on. And in order to tell the coach what they want to work on, they bring it to the session and they can associate into it. This is NLP language. You can notice the person in real time speaking of something that's not present. It's on outside of the coaching session, but as they speak about it, they see internally, hear internally, and feel internally the situation, and they get into a stuck state exactly when they want to work on the solution. And as they bring in their report about what's going on in their life, and if they're associated into that, then many of the beliefs that they have about change will come together at the same time. And then what Darko said is so important about beliefs. Let them believe. However, a belief is a limiting belief compared to where they want to go. If we're calibrating our session to where they really want to go and where they really want to be, sometimes when they're talking about their blockers, then we get a perfect example of their belief, which is a state of consciousness. And if the client wants to change that belief, that they don't want to change the belief, they don't know it's a belief necessarily, but they want to change the reality from within the belief. At that time, it's important for us to calibrate to our client, getting beyond the belief, beyond the problem, in a more open state where a kind of creativity can happen. It's important that they be in a responsive awareness to what the coach has to say, because otherwise they might be defensive about keeping their reality or explaining. No, it's like this. No, you haven't understand what the problem is. Let me tell you more. No, you don't understand how much of it is struggle for me. No, you don't understand how bad I am. Let me show you how bad I am and how hard it is for me to change. So when we bring in the mindfulness, we can be more attuned to those little windows. Sometimes they're little tiny windows when the coachee for maybe a second is kind of connecting with us. And if the coach is connected to the field at that little slice in time, it can be micro time that the coachee is open, then exactly at that moment, at that timing, we can help the client connect into the field where some of the simplest interventions, it might be a silence, it might be a look, it might be one of these phrases where we can actually hack into the system, which is so important to do. So how can a coach do that very quickly? One thing that I use to keep myself in this state, it's called the coach state. And it's really noble mixture of attention to create this attention, this expanded extension. We call it the coach state. This is this name is created by Robert Dilts and Steve Gilligan. And it's a combination of centering, if you think in the center, that's about centering towards the inside. That's the C, to center. And then the O is open. So think about what's happening with one's attention. Center within, then open outwards. And then there's awareness in the present moment. So the person starts to roll with the wave. It's a now, it's a new now, it's a new now. And then the second C is about connection. Connection to what? Connection to resources that are within me, connections to resources that are in the field. Once again, we're doing a really quick practice about distributing our attention so the field can happen. And it's also about holding what's happening instead of reacting to exclude an experience. We're having a relationship with holding it, and that keeps our attention full. So how does that go? We can do it very quickly because it's good to memorize this for coaching. Coaching is to center. How centered am I at this moment? Can I be more centered? And even these inner questions help it to happen. How centered am I? And can I be just a little bit more centered? And how open can I be to this moment and to what is to come? And it doesn't mean to be open with all the doors wide open. It can be the experience of opening. I am willing to opening. Just the right optimal amount as a direction, as an intention. And being in awareness of this present moment, the now, the new now, the new now, what has gone is gone. And then these are instant flashes of moments where there are opportunities. I wish to stay in the now. I make the decision, the willingness to be in the now, to detach to expectations and to connect with my resources. There's the connection within, connection beyond, a kind of connection that includes, that invites the coachee to connect with his or her resources. And then a posture of holding that whatever comes, come on, bring it on. You're very welcome here. This is very welcome. Whatever you bring me, whatever you tell me, bring it to the session. And we'll hold it here. We'll hold the space. So that's the coaching state that we can access and induce ourselves to, is to center, to open, to be aware, connect, and hold. It can be like a mantra: center, open, awareness, connect, and hold. So that's a very quick practice that we can use to be together with our client. And we can teach this to our clients too, so they can have this really easy access to it. It's about attuning the nervous system. Okay, it's like golf. They say that executives, they take such a big advantage to golf because of the way they focus in many different directions. They have to focus on their body. They have to focus on the whole field, the wind, the tee, the golf ball. I think Gildy golfs. I'm not a golfer, but I have golfers in the family. But I've heard that executives love to do this training because it takes their attention in all the directions, on the inside, on the outside, the current moment, and planning the way to hit the ball, thinking about a little bit into the future. What's the intention this moment? So the executives in Japan can take the metro, the subway, an hour and a half because they want to play a game of golf. I think we can get people to understand the value of doing a little 5-minute exercises that gives them this same noble mixture of attention that just brings us into the field very quickly.
Well, actually, time is going by, and we can speak for hours in this subject, all three of us.
Yeah.
Because this is something that we really adore to do, and we are completely in mindfulness, not watching at our watch. Like the kids, 4 or 5 years when they play, they don't know what time it is. They don't know how long they're playing. three of us can say we can speak about mindfulness and coaching all day long.
Yeah.
And what is important, we wanted to share with you that we are deciding to make the special education mindfulness intensive, all three of us. Uh, we set at the beginning for 11th May, but I think that we are going to change that date and we are going to inform you about the new date. And the point is that this mindfulness intensive is 30 hours long education. It is for 7 weeks, 7 modules, 4 hours of recorded content, which means also recorded meditations that you can use, worksheets and scripts that you can read, something that will support you in your coaching business, in your coaching profession. And I think that mindfulness is okay, it is useful for coaching, but it is first of all useful for life. It is useful for the relationship that you are creating, and everything that Arlene just said now about coach state. If you do this state also in a relationship with your partner or your children or your parents or your colleagues, you are going to have extraordinary results, bringing your attention back here and now and building the really strong connection with other people is something that is crucial for this fast speed life that we are living in this moment. So we are happy to invite you to sign up for this education, and we are going, of course, inform you about the date when we will start. And I don't know what to tell you. Thank you for being here with us today. Thank you for being so patient and to listen and to communicate with us. And I don't know, Arlene, Ildi, do you have anything else to add?
I would just say, practice, practice, practice mindfulness, because this is not a quick fix. It's something that we have to do like showers, on the daily basis, or going to the gym and exercise is not going to build those muscles within, one session. And we know that the result will worth it. So especially when you are mixing it with other coaching tools as well and NLP tools.
Yeah, I think all is said and done at this moment that we have to say for this moment. So I thank everybody. I really, really appreciate your intention and being with us here today, or people who are watching us on this recorded version too. And be welcome to be in touch with us. This is our project. We intend to work on integrated mindfulness and creating ways for people to expand in their lives, their professions. Thank you all.
Thank you all. All the best.
Oh, look, it's you and me. It's still being recorded.